Why are my tits falling off? What's going on?
What is...
We have availability to...
What the fuck?
To make this long story longer, but
I just had a fucking birthday.
Jake went for another naked hiney.
You naked heinies?
69 calories.
Giggity.
That's my favorite number.
you can be gay as a picnic basket. In the words of my wife, it's her favorite. You can have flowers shooting out of your ass. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, what's everybody? What's up? Yeah, let's try that again there, motherfucker. I'm Jake Jacobs.
This is Sammy.
This is the Don,
And you're listening to What the Fuck? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to What the Fuck, the podcast where we say all the things you're thinking,
but probably shouldn't.
Today, we're joined by my good friend Katy, someone I've known since her days working at Tony's Foodland in Jolton, Tennessee. Back then, she was bagging groceries, and now she's out here unpacking minds. After leaving Tony's, she took a bold leap, joined the Air Force, and now she's the host of her own podcast, What the Psychology, where she dives into the weird, wild, and sometimes dark corners of human behavior. Katy, welcome to What the Fuck. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I've always just listened to other podcasts, especially like true crime ones, and I'm like, they mention like this person had this mental illness, but they never go into it, or they never explore it, or like just all the things that go with that. Or even with true crime, it's like, oh, this person had schizophrenia, and they make it seem like everyone with schizophrenia is violent, which is very not true. Like, it's a very, very low rate of people. So I really try to emphasize like both the dark and the light side. Like, let's talk about cults and all the horrible things, and then some of something more lighthearted.
Don't even get me started about cults. I'm a cult fucking fanatic. Like, anything dealing with the cult, it's like fucking meth for me.
Hearing about cults, because I'm like, just like seeing people crazier than me.
I think very early on I talked about Milgram's experiment, which is about obedience and manipulation. And that study came out because of the Nuremberg trials. And so it really tested the boundaries of humanity and how much control people can have over us. Then in later episodes, I explored like how salesmen use tactics, like manipulation tactics, which kind of came out of that experiment. And then I go into other cults too. So
one of the episodes you mentioned, Criminal Minds, the TV show, and I'm like, oh my fucking God.
I use them a lot. Yeah. That was a psychotic
That's a really dark show.
It is.
That one of the actors left because it was too dark for him.
Mandy Patinkin?
Yeah.
He regrets ever doing the show because he was like, it was too dark and I should have never done it.
But that's part of humanity, unfortunately. But when you're exposed to that so much and there's not balance.
But then he went on to do another show that was just as dark, if not darker, and more violent.
Well, he came to this revelation, I think, later in life. I think it was getting too dark for him at the time, and he wanted a break from it. But then, yeah, he did go in and do another. But now he doesn't do anything acting, I think.
I think he's done.
Retired, living his life with his wife in their cute little cabin, and their son like takes videos of them, and it's adorable. I love Mandy Patinkin.
Even just, I think I had one episode about Halloween and talked about why Halloween is so intriguing, and even just like horror movies, like you're put into a space where you know you're safe and it's okay to explore those things. If you're constantly exposed to that, then it's not good. Or if you
run upstairs, guys.
Right, if you go into a horror or a haunted house, except if it's like McCanny Manor, which is violent, whatever, you know you're in a safe space. You know you're exploring that darker side of humanity, but you're also safe while doing it. So it's also very interesting psychological concept. The title of the podcast and how it's like, what the fuck? That was the whole premise of What the Psychology, but like a play on of words. So it's kind of funny how there's that connection there.
Everyone says what the fuck. If you don't say it, you're at least thinking it. And if you're not saying the word fuck, then you're saying what the hell, or you're saying a version of it. And they all have different meanings. When was the last time you either said it or thought it?
I was very, very, very early on in the pregnancy, like just found out a week before. And I was about 6 weeks pregnant, so very early. And I had some pain and some spotting, which spotting is normal, pain not so much. And so I called the nurse's line. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I don't think I need to go to the emergency room, but maybe, I don't know. They're like, oh, it could be nothing. It could be ectopic, which means like it implanted outside your uterus, which is not good. You could die.
Tube. Yeah.
You could die. And so they're like, maybe just in case, go. I'm like, Yeah, you think?
Just let them do a quick little ultrasoundy sound.
So we're sitting there in the room. It took forever. We didn't get out of there till like 4 in the morning. They did an ultrasound, and when you're so early on, they can do an abdominal, but it's not as accurate. So they have to do, they call it transvaginal, where you pretty much get a long, nice,
It's like a
lubed up
giant dildo they stick up.
Pretty
and
much.
It's got a probe in it.
Yeah, so
That's
you get
what
probed.
it equates to.
Yeah, so a very good time. And so the tech is like, okay, we're gonna very good time.
Sounds
The
like,
tech the tech gets, she's like, I'm gonna extra lube it up for you, and and so she
Does the thing have a vibrator function on it?
I wish. No. That baby be moving, I bet. No.
It's massage therapy.
Oh my
for the
god.
baby.
But so she puts the long probe in, and I'm covered and everything. My husband's just sitting there, is like, damn, I haven't had this much action since I've been pregnant. And my husband's like, oh my.
Oh.
My husband's like, what the fuck?
Rude.
I mean, I feel like at this point my husband should know, but sometimes he's just like, I can't believe you just said that, or I just can't believe, like, oh my god.
So Don has been hinting at a special what the fuck.
I think this one here is going to be more what the fuck from these two. I was at Bike Week, as you guys know, here in Daytona Beach. So I live in Florida, Katy, and in St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh.
And I went to Bike Week. So one of the
boy.
petty officers that used to report to me, we remained friends, and she's now human resources at Teddy Moore's Harley Davidson, the world's largest Harley Davidson dealership in Daytona Beach. I fucking went back to work. So I am
you got
I'm a
hired?
Harley Davidson sales director at Teddy Moore's
Shit.
Harley Davidson. And if you don't think that
Hell
was a what the
yeah.
fuck, I bypass because of
It's all about who you know
Ashley.
sometimes.
Sales director.
I don't know enough people.
Yeah, I'm the sales guy.
So we know this motherfucker gets a fucking discount now.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Like you read about. For years and years since I retired from the Navy, I've done a bunch of things. Most recently, I've kind of left corporate America. I was a senior vice president of a large company, and before that, a senior VP of a much, much larger company.
Damn.
And most
I
recently
just-
got fired for telling HR to fuck off.
I kind of did. When I sat down with the general sales manager and he was going through the compensation profile, I was slack jawed. I couldn't believe the number. I was like, let me stop you right there. Are you serious? This is not La La Land, right? This is not pie in the sky. He was like, no. He said, our CEO, who is Teddy Moore's, he's a biker just like we are, and he wants you to make money.
That's awesome.
And I was fucking shocked. I'm still shocked.
Nice.
He said, dude, you can make quite a fine living selling motorcycles, working
That's
5
awesome.
days a week and regular hours. He said, I don't like doing
Especially in Florida.
late, I don't like late deals and all that shit. I want you to get here. I want you to go home on time. I want you to spend time with your family, get major holidays off. Blah, blah. There's always the rallies and things where you work your balls
Right.
off.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, man, I can get up there and talk to people, which is what I do well. Build bridges. I can sell ice water to an Eskimo and do it with a product that I truly believe in.
Yeah.
Bottom line is 5 minutes into the interview, he was like, dude, this is going to be a job. I was like, I want the job. He says, it's yours.
That's awesome.
Now we got to make a spot for you because they didn't have a spot. He's like,
Don,
he
that is
said,
fucking
They
awesome.
created one for you.
That is awesome.
I get to play with motorcycles all fucking day, which is kind of a dream. That was my what the fuck. I didn't think I was going back to work. I thought I'd just retire my shit, maybe find a band to play in.
Don, my t-shirt size is 2X, by the way.
You a 2X? Okay, then.
What's really cool is I come from a Harley family.
Nice.
My grandfather rode Harleys. I remember being 5 and he's sticking me on the back of his Harley. My stepdad has a Harley. He goes to Bike Week almost every year in Daytona. So that's really fun. And then another thing, you mentioned St. Augustine. Before I got pregnant, I was considering going for my doctorate after this. And there's St. Augustine School of Health Sciences. And it's like you have to graduate, and I'm still considering going there eventually. So if I ever go to that school, maybe I'll pop over that way.
Yeah,
but-
well, I mean, we live St. Augustine proper, so it's, we're
Yeah.
pretty close to
If you're
downtown
there,
where
Katie,
everything's
and someone's giving you shit, they call Don the hitman. So you're there. Just look him up, and
Good to
at.
know.
That shit works both ways, too, so.
Now, I'm a little bit of a trader, but I'm a new biker, so I have a little Honda Grom, a little crotch rocket. That
And
thing
familiar.
is fun.
I told my wife, I said, I think we're going to buy a couple of those just for sport.
They're so fun.
They're really a lot of fun.
But that's one thing, like, I used to ride to work every day, and then as soon as I got pregnant, my husband was like, you're not allowed to ride anymore. I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, it's not you, it's other people, and I don't want you to risk. I'm like, okay, I get that. So I haven't
I
ridden
trust
in a while.
you on the road. You don't trust everybody else around you on the road. Okay, so I moved to North Carolina. It'll be 3 years this July. Ask me if I've changed over my driver's license or license plates.
Sam, have you changed over any of your shit?
No.
Roger that.
My inspection is 3
Damn.
years dead and my tags are 2 years dead. But they haven't pulled me over because I think it's a not my monkey, not my circus situation. They're still Virginia tags. So I've been in front of cops. Let me knock on all the wood around me right now. I've been behind cops or been in front of cops and they haven't done anything. But I have to go up to Virginia for this con that I'm going to next week.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I have to because otherwise I'm going to have like thousands of dollars in tickets, knowing my luck to drive up there and back. So I was like trying to get all my shit together for it has been a nightmare because I didn't realize all that I needed.
I will tell you this, because I spent a lot of time in Virginia, and I spent a lot of times with an expired inspection sticker. And typically, they won't pull you over for an expired inspection sticker unless you're being
doing the right thing.
stupid.
Yeah.
If they catch you for running a red light or rolling a stop sign, or
They'll add that shit right on there.
Right.
they will pull you over. And oh, by the way, why is your inspection 2 years expired? Let's talk about that.
I did finally get all the paperwork and everything I needed. So on Monday, I will be going in to, like, it's literally, I'll be 2 days out from leaving and I'll be getting this shit taken care of. When I first started doing like the door dashing and everything, and I had an order that ended up being on the base, which I don't have base access because I don't have like a card to get on base right now. The guys that were checking my vehicle as they're telling me, like, no, you got to turn around. The guy walks back. He comes back and he tilts his head and, like, looks in my window and he goes, you know your tags are 2 years dead. And I was like, I'm fully aware, sir. Why do you think I'm doing this? I was like, I'm trying to get the money to get this shit. I was like, that and, ADHD is a hell of a drug. I got real bad executive dysfunction.
Hey, I know a therapist.
Like, if you looked at my call log, it's wild. It's like randomized between phone calls to my mom and dad, my neighbor who used to work for the license plate agency who I just found out retired in September. So I'm like calling her, calling my parents, calling Chrysler Capital, who I have my loan through for my vehicle because obviously I'm still paying on it, so I don't have the title. I like had to call them twice because the first person I talked to, I guess she was new or just dumb. I don't know. But she was like, oh, it's going to take like 2 to 4 weeks for us to send it out. The DMV has to request it. And my neighbor was like, no, North Carolina does not request it. You have to request it. And I was like, that's what I thought. She's like, girl, call those motherfuckers back. So I call them back. Through all this going on, I'm also like fielding calls between my mom and my dad because I was freaking out. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I finally call back. And the girl I got the second time I called back, I was like, here's the scenario. I talked to one of your colleagues. She told me this. I feel like that can't possibly be correct. She just goes, she must have been new. Girl, I'm going to email it to you right now. And I was like, thank you so much. Because otherwise I was going to have to spend $200 to rent a fucking car to drive up there because it'd be cheaper for me to rent a car than it would to incur all the tickets that I would, knowing my luck, end up getting.
So much to change over your car to a new
Like,
state.
it's like you got to do the license first and then on your way over to get and in North Carolina, it's not the DMV. There's the license agency and then the license plate agency. 2 different buildings in 2 different parts of town.
I have a quick what the fuck here. It has to deal with colonoscopies, which is...
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, sounds like
I just scheduled mine today.
Kind of fun. I had my first and only colonoscopy in 2017. I was 51, so the VA was only a year late in getting it to me, but they had to outsource me to community care. And then afterwards, they were like, hey, we'll see you in 10 years. You're good to go. So lately, I've been going through some issues with my hand with carpal tunnel. I deal with the VA on the telephone almost on a daily basis. So a couple of days ago, I get a phone call, and it's from scheduling, and they're like, yeah, we need to schedule your colonoscopy. And I'm like, hang on a second, let me do the math here. 2017, this is 2025.
That's 8 years.
Why are we doing a colonoscopy? Because the last I heard was, we'll see you in 10 years. So the lady on the phone goes, let's see, you have colon cancer, right? I'm like, no, the fuck I don't. No one told me if I do. And they're like, what? No,
Bitch,
it's not
get
that.
your notes together.
So literally, the VA is so backed up, they're looking at the scheduling. If they don't get me in May, I won't have another one at the VA within the 10-year time frame. So that's why they were doing what they were doing.
So it's either they get you in May or they get you in what, 2030?
I don't know. right?
That's when we get flying cars.
That's a wild range.
Sounds like the VA, though, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, go ahead and schedule it. They're like, it's going to be May 23rd, blah, 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 25th, whatever the fuck. I'm like, I don't care. Just schedule it. I'll be there. Right. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I don't have to think about that for the next 2 months. Right. I'm good. You know, I have other things I need to think about. The next day I get a notification on my phone. Your FedEx package should be here tomorrow. I'm like, who the fuck is sending me a FedEx package? I had no fucking clue. So the next day comes, I get it. It's the fucking colonoscopy prep.
Jesus.
It's the fucking jug with the fucking mix and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then that same day, I got a letter in the mail from the VA. Hey, these are all the instructions for you. Like, so they're like, pardon the pun, they're on this shit, right?
Right. Wildly efficient for once.
They're laser focused on my ass for some reason. I don't fucking know, but
Something wrong with your ass they haven't told you.
What's wrong with your booty, son?
so that was my what the fuck. Like, why is the VA interested in my ass, Don? Do you have any insight on that?
Have you seen your ass lately?